President Obama now planning to sign a bill extending sanctions against Iran. The White House making the announcement today, adding the bill is not expected to interfere with the Iran nuclear deal. Lawmakers who approved the extension say it is a necessary failsafe in case Iran breaks its commitments under the landmark pact. Kevin Cork, live at the White House. All right, Kevin, does the White House think this is necessary? Because in many ways, they've argued all along that things that the Hill wanted to do with respect to Iran didn't need to happen.
Well, you're right on the money on that, Shannon. Keep in mind, Iran has been saying, listen, we already made this deal with 6 world powers. It's simply not necessary. In fact, they argue that this is actually a violation of the Iran nuclear accord. Now, the White House, for their part, they've been saying for quite some time, it's really not necessary. After all, this doesn't really change the tone or the tenor or even the letter of what was agreed to in the Iran nuclear deal. Not long ago, that question was actually posed to Principal Deputy White House Press Secretary Eric Schultz, and this is what he had to say about it.
We believe the Iran Sanctions Act extension is not necessary, but we also believe it won't interfere with the Iran deal, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action that was agreed upon between Iran and the P5+1. So I would expect the president to sign this piece of legislation.
Gonna sign it. And remember this too, Shannon, this is something that passed unanimously. That should give you a sense of how the feeling is here inside the Beltway, which is twofold. Number one, if you're for this idea, you're saying, listen, let's keep holding Iran's feet to the fire. And if you kind of feel like it's unnecessary, you still do the right thing because you don't want to overrule the will of the people. And in this case, the Senate has spoken unanimously, and that's exactly what the president will do. He's going to sign it, Shannon.
Yeah, it's tough to get them to do anything unanimously, that's so right. It gets our attention.
Exactly.
All right, what is the White House saying, if anything, about that dust-up last night between the Clinton and Trump campaign aides?
Well, as you know, I'm very familiar with the Harvard Kennedy School as an alum, and I've been to that forum. It's usually pretty congenial. The two sides get together to sort of unpack what we've seen in the election. What was different last night is it was obviously very emotional. Some would even argue it was quite rude, downright aggressive on both sides. In particular, some have argued that the Clinton side was very disparaging of some of the Trump folks who will now be leading the nation as we have the president-elect take office in January. I will tell you this, the White House today trying to really stay above the fray and simply suggest that it's okay to have arguments. Sometimes a spirited debate, even if it gets a little edgy, is not a bad thing. But I think anyone who was there would certainly agree that it probably crossed the line just a bit.
A little uncomfortable. All right, Kevin Cork, live for us at the White House. Thank you, Kevin.
You bet.